Hello, everyone. We're here today with Sterling Metals CEO Matt Wilson. Matt, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Peter. It's great
Pleasure.
to be back.
So, Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit about recent discovery? Of course, there was the prospector who a couple of years ago brought this to Altius and ultimately to you. But there's been some real work's been done on it in the last sort of 6 to 9 months. And there's certainly been a lot of progress. Interesting to know also about the kinds of analogies that you can make to other districts. So maybe you can start with that. Maybe the type of analogy of this discovery.
Yeah, it's a great place to start because honestly, it's where we started. And the first thing I did when I looked at this project when we were dealing with Altius, even before we owned it, was looked at the technical report. And I'm no geologist, but I can still read. And the great thing that the PhD geologist who wrote it, Stephen Piercy, he compared this project before any holes had been drilled to Keno Hill. And Keno Hill is a district that did 300 million ounces of silver from 1913. It's located in the Yukon. It's one of the most famous silver districts in the world because of the grade in there. And then when we started having some fun, you see that the western side of Keno Hill is 12 kilometers, which is the same trend that we have, which is 12 kilometers. And the western end of Keno Hill was 8 mines and did 230 million ounces of silver from 1913 to 1990. And so this is when silver was low and costs were low too. But so we use Keno Hill a lot, and that's where that string of pearls kind of comes from. These 8 mines along this 12-kilometer trend. But then I actually started to do some more digging, and I saw that if you look at the epithermal systems, really these vein systems in Mexico and Peru, where you get some of the biggest silver mines in the world, you're always looking at this kind of vein system. These underground mines are producing 300 grams silver, they have 500 gram equivalent reserve grades, and you're looking at these kind of 300 to 600 meter strikes along this 3 to 6 kilometer trend line where there's multiple mines and multiple shafts sunk, and you're kind of drifting out. So regardless of the geology of it, it seems like there's a lot of silver vein systems that are mined. And where we got so excited with our recent discovery is that we hit veins that would be mined. These meter veins, 0.7 meter veins that are near 1,000, if not over 1,000 grams silver equivalent. So if we're saying the reserve grade of 20 of the best mines in the world are 500 gram equivalent, and we're hitting 1,000, that's a good start. So I think that the Keno Hill analogy is great because there's a lot of similarity with the antimony, the zinc, what's in the rock. So, but I think that this understanding of this string of pearls, seeing that we found basically the start of this system, the beginning of a recipe for success, that's what gets us so excited at Sterling, is that this discovery is, there's a big system, but we always knew there was a big system. But now we know that we actually have hit something and we can kind of chase it and see where it goes.
Excellent. So you brought that up, string of pearls analogy. Maybe you can describe that a little bit better and then tell us where you are in this string.
Yeah, so we named the zone that we just discovered the Heimdall zone. And yes, I'm a Marvel fan, but also I am a fan of some Norse mythology, and the political district we're in is called Lanso Meadows. And Lanso Meadows is the only known settlement of Vikings in North America. Oh, wow. It's great. There's this small old Viking village that you can walk through and see what they were living in. There's a brewery in St. Anthony called Ragnarok Brewing, and they have beers called Hela's Fury and Loki's Revenge and things like that. And so I got this idea of like, oh man, like this is this kind of area. And Heimdall was the gatekeeper, basically. He controlled the bridge and like kind of the gate into Asgard, the Golden City. And so we named this zone the Heimdall zone for that reason, which is like, this is the gateway, the entranceway to where we're trying to get to. So this is the top of the first pearl, so to speak. It is by no means the end of the first pearl. This is the very top, in my opinion. And I think that the rinse, wash, and repeat kind of analogy to find the other pearls, you keep going on this one, but then you start testing the other ones as well.
So you've done some drilling, some limited drilling. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about what those results are, and also maybe the process to get to the choices you've made in terms of where you've decided to drill.
Yeah, so I guess actually we can reverse the choices we made as to where we decided to drill. Our program was 8,000 meters. the initial model that we chose to follow was based on a certain understanding of the vein structures. And that model proved inefficient or ineffective. And while we hit these 20 centimeter veins of okay mineralization, like there was nothing consistent, nothing we could find. When we discovered that there was this argillite shale cap that kind of created this flexure, this shield around mineralization where things could get trapped, that's when we started hitting the first times the 70 meters, the 70 grams over 10 meters, 20 meters, this sort of thing. So like that's a gram gold. It's a good start, really. When we got really excited is we hit this hole 23, we hit 0.35 meters of 29% zinc, 1,500 grams silver, 6% copper, and that's what we got to talk about last time. And then we started following it up. And so, it took us a little while to figure out where that's going because that's not a very thick vein. So you can't just kind of drill under it and hope that, they're going to pinch and swell and disappear. And so what we wanted to do is drill around it to see what else was going on. And we've intercepted multiple structures whereby in these structures you have meter quartz veins now, which you can assume are going to be much more continuous. So we basically decided to start drilling down here because we hit more stuff from the inefficient program to start. And that flexure model was able to be shown because we drilled more there. The outcrop is better there. The trenching was our 4,500 grams silver and 15% grab sample is from down in the south zone. So interestingly, we started drilling there, but the geophysical team that's doing a lot of work for us continued to harp on us that the north is more exciting than the south. And I mean, I guess from total trend line, the north zone, which I'll probably rename at some point, but the north zone is 9 kilometers of consistent soil anomalies that go along with outcrop, and the south zone is 2 kilometers. So what we've drilled out now is 400 meters of that 2 kilometers. So there's a lot to see in the north zone, and I think that our drilling, we did drill some holes up in the north. I guess it's interesting and worth pointing out that when we intercepted quartz veins in the north, you saw 150 gram equivalent kind of results, but no continuity. There's small veins. But we realize now from the targeting that we were actually 400 meters to the east of where we should have been drilling. So it's actually incredibly encouraging that we're hitting silver underground 400 meters from where we should be. So we're pretty excited about what that means for that north zone. So I think get a better understanding of where we are now, because that's a good way to start, and then we're going to be pretty pumped when we drill the rest of it too. So
how do you decide how and when you move on to this sort of much larger area that's the north zone that's multiple kilometers?
Yeah, I think you start where you're hitting, because I'm really excited. I mean, if the Heimdall zone was all we had, then this would still be a pretty interesting project because it's a 400 meter strike with 10 to 20 meter corridor of an equivalent of 2 grams gold, 100, it's good. It's something you're going to care about. So I think that, that range of 70 gram equivalent silver to 250 in that corridor is pretty interesting. And then you have these veins. So I think that you have to chase that system and understand that as best you can before moving on. Don't be premature with it. But we are only going to hold on for so long, I think, as we start to test. I kind of want to see these veins as we chase this corridor down. Like chasing it down plunge is going to be really exciting because ideally what happens is the veins swell. You find new structures that show you kind of, that 2-3 meter vein. And that's when this gets really exciting. And that's when you see a gap. The same thing happened to Vizsla, where all of a sudden you have like either the grades go way up or the widths go way up. And then all of a sudden you're laughing because you're like, oh, here's a mine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's a great overview. Maybe you can just tell us to kind of finish off a little bit about what over the next 9 to 12 months, what investors and followers can look forward to in terms of news flow and what the developments might be.
Yeah, I hope not to wait 5 months for assays ever again. I was alongside everyone with the frustration, and it's hard when one thing trickles in and you have to really sit as a batch and can't say anything. So that's not going to happen again. But you're going to see us start drilling late spring. And we're going to use one rig to start. And as you start hitting, you got a second rig, and that's really what efficiently you're going to do. And what that's going to do is it's going to increase news flow because you're going to have 2 rigs going. You're going to have multiple different deposit areas kind of being tested. So you should see some team additions. You should see some kind of, some pushes in marketing, kind of getting the word out there. We've realized more and more that people don't really know the story and that we just had this cusp of discovery. So I think that, that once we get into the spring, it's going to be pretty consistent news flow for hopefully as long as this project's around.
Right. Well, it's certainly interesting and exciting to be part of a brand new silver discovery, and certainly a rarity these days. And so we'll certainly look forward to following the progress.
Thanks a lot, Peter.
All right. Thanks, Matt.